It's been quite a busy off season for the Chicago Cubs, adding likes of Trey Mancini, getting all their work done. But they have added another piece here today to their bullpen. Welcome to Clemhawks. I'm Gillis TV, and if you're new to the channel and like anything MLB related, trades, news, injuries, whatever there is to do in the MLB, we have it covered here on the channel with a little bit of NASCAR from Clemhawks itself. Now let's get to it. It's been a pretty busy offseason for the Chicago Cubs. I think everyone in the Cubs nation will say, yeah, it's been an intriguing one, with new guys coming in and whatnot. But now the Cubs are in for another reliever, as the Cubs and free agent righty Michael Fulmer are in agreement on a contract. This is from Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic. The deal is pending a physical. Fulmer, the Cubs are landing one of a few remaining quality relievers on the market. The 2016 American League Rookie of the Year broke into the majors as a starter and thrived in that role before injuries have kept him to the sidelines, namely Tommy John surgery. He returned to full strength in 2021, however, and after a few shaky starts early in the season, found a home in the Detroit Tigers bullpen. From that point through the 2022 trade deadline, Fulmer was a rock-solid setup man and closer for the sub-500 Tigers team. Detroit flipped him to the Twins prior to the 2022 trade deadline, receiving minor league pitcher Sayer Gibson Long in return. Fulmer continued his smooth transition to the bullpen with a nice showing in Minnesota down the stretch, and he now touts a .290 ERA with 23.8% strikeout rate and an 8.5 walk rate and a 39.2% grounder rate and a 0.64 home runs per 9 rate in 111 and 2/3 innings. That's a lot to say in this thing I'm rating here. So the Chicago Cubs go out, get another guy who can solidify their bullpen, help them out in being that late inning guy. You're up by a couple runs, you throw him out there, you need a hold, he can do that for them. He had some command issues in the first half of the 2022 season, but those were largely ironed out following the trade to Minnesota, with whom he walked just 7.5% of the batters he faced. There are at least a handful of red flags on his 2022 season beyond the brief uptick in walks, however. For instance, the 95.6 mile per hour fastball averaged on his heater in 2021 dipped to 94.3 miles per hour in 2022, while his 24.6% strikeout rate fell to 22.1 and just 20.6 after the trade. The right-hander also went from one of the game's best at managing hard contact, 87th percentile average exit velocity, to 76th percentile hard hit rate, to just slightly above average in 2022, 55th percentile exit velocity and 61 percentile hard hit rate. Additionally, his strong 34.6% of opponent's chase rate off pitches off the plate fell to 31.2 in 2022, a career low mark in a full 162 game season. The extent of which factors like that combined to a slow market can be fully known, but it is still a bit of a surprise that it took until a week before spring training for him to reach a deal. While financial terms of the contract has yet to come to light, the Cubs tend to wait out the market and scoop up veteran relievers at a relatively bargain rate. Chicago hasn't inked a reliever to a multi-year deal or even topped a $5 million guaranteed for a reliever since signing Craig Kimbrell 4 years ago. If that trend indeed continues, it could well prove to be a bargain for them. Fulmer isn't dominant, overpowering bullpen anchor, but he has the quality setup man and slightly above average ability to miss bats, solid command, and knack for avoiding hard contact over the past 2 seasons. If his 2023 results fall in line anywhere between his 2021 and 2022 output, it will be a nice upgrade to the Cubs bullpen that is lacking in certainty. Prior to the agreement with Fulmer, righties Brad Boxberger and Rowan Wick were the only relievers in the Chicago bullpen with even 3 years of major league service time. The Cubs don't have a setup closer, so Fulmer figures to join Boxberger and Brandon Hughes and perhaps former top prospect Albert Azole, who was excellent in a small sample bullpen work last year, is competing for the work in the ninth inning. So this is just a great, signing by the Cubs, who are known for that late, right before spring training pickups of guys. And just given last year between the two teams, the Tigers and the Minnesota Twins, Fulmer went into 67 games with a 5-6 record with a 3.39 ERA in 63 and 2/3 innings with 61 strikeouts. Over the course of his career, he's had 204 career games played, going 34 and 45 with 3.89 ERA in 617 innings with 510 strikeouts. Going over his career here, it's all been with Detroit, and we know how, no shot to the Detroit Tigers fans, but we all know how the Detroit Tigers play. They've been kind of a laughing stock over the years, and Fulmer's had one pretty bad season where he played in 10 games and the ERA that's games started, so he was a starter then, and he had an 8.78 ERA in that season. That was the 2020 season before the Tommy John surgery. Sorry, I'm having a hard time speaking right now. It's been one of those days my mind's just out of it right now. But going to a new team, getting out of Detroit, going to a team like the Cubs, where they can help him with the fundamentals better than Detroit can, and go out there and just play his game. He is going to be fighting for that ninth inning setup man role, and I believe he will be one of the candidates for the Chicago Cubs for years to come if they can turn him around. He is only, it doesn't say, his birthday is in 93, so he is 30 years old, or will be 30 years old here in March. So there's still some time left for him, at least 4 or 5 more years, that if he does well for the Chicago Cubs, he could be that guy that they keep around for those 4 or 5 years. But anyway, this has been Gillis TV. Sorry about the video. It's just been a really busy day. I'll catch you on the next one.